Love the drum roll. Uh, okay, perfect. Crystal Rumor with secured land notes. Real quick, I'll tell you why I want to share quickly with you why I do what I do and why I love what I do. I'll make that brief, but we started back in 2008 doing fix and flips. Who remembers the big financial crisis? Yeah, awesome time to get real estate going. But it was for our family. We learned a lot of invaluable lessons through that time. And but it wasn't until last year that in March, my father-in-law had passed away. And then in the same month, my mother, we found out that she had cancer. And we became caretakers for both sides of our family. And so that was a very challenging time for us. And so the reason I'm sharing that story with you right now today is that at Secured Land Notes, we have a deep and motivated mission to help others with secure income and also build legacy. And so the way that we do that is really simple. We buy large parcels of land, we subdivide it, we owner finance them. I like to say we buy the whole pizza and sell by the slice. And as we owner finance them, we're creating notes and get to sell those notes to investors just as yourselves that look for to diversify their portfolio or above average return, but ultimately securing that monthly income to build legacy. So thank you for your time. And Steve and his crew is amazing, by the way. So yeah, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Crystal. I figured. Sean is up here doing his one-man show. Oh, never mind. All right. Yes. All right. So we want to do just a couple of little introductory housekeeping items first before we commence with our speakers.
I have no sponsor. I have Derek.
Oh, are you a sponsor, Derek? Why do you not have a table? Come on, man. It's not some serious sponsorship.
Derek,
Okay.
I got Eddie himself. We got a little bit more. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, I broke our banner. So I have kids. We had a big banner like that, and I play with it. I thought it was indestructible, and it's not. It's not. They break. I'm Derek. I run a debt fund. We provide financing and liquidity to real estate sponsors who own stabilized cash flowing assets. We pay quarterly distributions. Backed by low leverage, stabilized cash flowing assets, diversified across the country. We're in 27 states. My background before that, I was a real estate sponsor myself. I started buying properties back when I was out of my dorm room at Harvard with a couple buddies. Learned a lot about the financial markets as a trader at Goldman Sachs, and built a $450 million real estate portfolio, and kind of learned that, hey, even if you have stabilized cash flowing assets, they're liquid. And a lot of times, if you're in the real estate business, you need liquidity to buy a property or to finish a renovation or something like that. And so started Nectar to provide that liquidity to other sponsors, kind of like myself. And now we have a fund, and we're doing it across the country. So, good to be here.
Thank you. Derek, I'm just curious, with your fund, what's an initial investment look like?
Our average investment right now is about $1 million, but our minimum is $50,000.
That's pretty much in line with what we would expect. So, and then, again, the funds are becoming a very popular way to go because of the fact that they are spreading things around a lot more. So, excellent thing to kind of keep up with. She doesn't have to.
Did you put your wine down?
We'll fix that.
That's right. It was my wine that I spilled on you. Oh, that's right.
All this behind the scenes stuff. See what you miss at home? This is why everybody should be here. All right. Kristen, I believe you are next.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kristen Gerst with Capricorn Mortgage Investments. I buy and sell owner finance mortgage notes primarily, and I love performing Texas. For all of you sitting out there who have small balances to put to work, that you're wondering what can I possibly invest in real estate with my small balance IRA, I've got a bunch of them right now that when I get this paper, a lot of times it's a little hairy. We've got to make sure, like, um, I've got a couple legal secretaries. They go through all of my files. We look for every error possible. We correct the paper. We make sure that the borrowers are good. If there's no RMLO file on them, we build an RMLO file as best we possibly can, so that we have, great notes to invest in. They're always performing, and you can see the payment histories. And so basically, if you've got an IRA, you will buy this note, and I've got some available as low as 20,000, 40,000, 50,000, stuff, around those amounts. You park it in your IRA, and you just get a monthly check that goes in there. And like note servicing is already paid for by the borrower, so that's not an extra cost to you. And you just kind of have this hassle-free investment that goes into your IRA. It's one of the best things to do with an IRA is invest in notes.
And when you say low balance, what does that mean?
Unpaid principal balance, I think right now I've got about 10 that are 20 to 60,000. I also have, but it's not ready just yet. I'm collecting people. If you only have something like 5 or 10,000, I'm doing own part of a mortgage note for 5 or 10,000 as well.
So that's again one of the things we look for, because sometimes we do have smaller balance IRAs, or we're setting up IRAs for our kids, and maybe our children don't have that old 401k to roll over yet. So that's why I think like opportunities like that are critical. All right. So I think now we have one more.
Who's doing it, Eddie or Martha?
Who do you want, Eddie or Martha?
I heard it, Eddie.
I heard Eddie and I heard Martha. Show of hands. Who wants Eddie?
Oh, we get both.
Who wants Martha? I at least saw a little more for Martha.
We are honored.
We're going to get enough of both of them in a few minutes.
We're
So,
super honored to have the
all right,
here tonight.
Yes.
I'm doing an infomercial, so you have to appreciate that. We're going to hand out a form. If I could get somebody else to help us, we're going to hand out a little form. Don't fill it out right now. We're going to be on the panel. We're going to talk tonight, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to come to a class. It'll be a 2-hour free class, and I'm going to show you how you can take $1,000 in a Roth IRA account and turn it into $100,000. Am I making this up, Nathan? Okay. I'm going to talk about non-performing notes, where the market is. So this is like how to go take your retirement money, your investment capital, and invest in notes effectively. And so this is a master class. You can just fill it out. You can give it to us at the end. So don't fill out right this minute if this is of interest to you. If you fill it out, commit to show up, right? In 2 hours, I bet we'll paint as clear a picture as what's possible. Not all the mechanics, but what's possible we can do. Is that fair? That's my thing. I hope you come. I hope we get to see you.
Thank you. Still would have preferred Martha. All right. By all means, thanks to our sponsors. So again, let's just kind of go through a couple of quick announcements. We here at Quest Trust Company, you know us well. We are obviously a self-directed IRA custodian. And in addition to offering your ability to invest in alternative assets, we have world-class customer service that includes 24 to 48-hour time frame on funding investments and everything else we do. But we are also leaders in networking, such as these events, and education, such as these events. So we always invite you to be looking at our website, looking at our YouTube channel and our Facebook page for upcoming events. And everything we do also is archived. So if, say, you come across an event, you don't have the opportunity to make it, don't worry. You can go to our YouTube channel and see a video of it. So always keep that in mind and always keep your eye open for upcoming events that we have. Want to talk about this one? Quest Expo. It is back this year. It is back and it's bigger than before. This year, first of all, it's up in Dallas, so let's give it up for Dallas, right? This time we're going big time, right? So we came up to Dallas. It's going to be at the Irving Convention Center, which is a departure from what we have normally done. Hence, we are expecting a larger crowd. I believe our attendance 2 years ago when we did this was around 800. The convention center can hold more than 800. So it is going to be a premier real estate or alternative asset investing event. People from around the country, panels, keynote speeches, you name it. The networking is tremendous, as are the sponsors. If you are looking to build your team, which is what I tell people they need to really concentrate on, it's not just you, but it's your CPA, it's your attorney, it's the guy who's going to fix the roof for you. These are the people you need. These are the people you will meet. So mark it on your calendar. Talk to us if you're interested in looking at tickets, but it's not that far away. It's just around the corner, and we want to see every one of you here. All right, upcoming. We also have a little bit of a focus toward the next generation. We want to start getting younger people to invest. With that in mind, we are conducting a presentation, which will be in a couple of weeks, specifically oriented to that. And again, this is designed for everybody. This is wisdom you can impart to the younger people you know, children, grandchildren. So again, it's for everybody, but it's designed to really help combat that retirement challenge that everybody is facing now, but more so in the future. Next thing, we're putting together another event like this coming up, and it's going to be a salute to veterans who have now made that transition into investors themselves. So again, keep it in mind. It will be coming up in May. And again, it'll be another one of these events like tonight. And if the attendance is going to be anything like this, I promise we'll have more food. The bar is still stocked though, so don't worry about that. All right. So now it's time to bring up our panel.
No. Let me talk first. Oh, sorry.
No.
Got this. He's the guy who can always. Thank you. Hey everyone, my name is Nathan. I know a lot of you. I'm the president of Quest Trust Company. And before I bring up these couples, microphone. It's on here. He's working on it. Can you hear? Can you hear? Wait for it. Can you hear? Hello. Before I bring up these dynamic couples, which is one of my favorite topics, by the way, what we're going to be talking about is, should you involve your spouse in your investing? I always say it's kind of like the adult diapers. It depends.
Yeah.
It really does. Because it can definitely lead some things. Before we do that, I wanted to take just a small moment of your time and talk to you about what Quest Trust means to me personally. It really started as a dream with me and my brother. We had watched companies. I grew up in corporate America, and we watched a lot of companies and a lot of things that we weren't happy with. I call it roadblocks to people's success. You see, a lot of companies, most companies, create a lot of roadblocks to their own employees' success, and sometimes not even realizing it. You find a person that's just perfect for whatever job that you found for them, and you think, oh, I've solved that person. They'll be there forever, but you don't think about their own independent growth. When Quincy got a hold of Quest and started the idea of this, we knew we had a pretty cool product. It doesn't cost very much, a few $100s a year, $30 a month. Most people can kind of afford that, you know, and have something that's self-directed. It was a matter of educating our employees so they could educate people out there. And it was really a job about teaching, which we really loved. And we had a strange idea. It was, let's remove those obstacles. Is that me? Remove those obstacles to people's success. Allow successful. Okay, I turned it off for God's sake. Once you remove obstacles to people's success, allow them to be as successful as they can be as an employee, and they would take that success and their enthusiasm and pass it on to our clients. Strange idea, right? 20 years later, 140 professional business people developed. It is my dream. We don't only get to watch young people come to work, learn things, and develop themselves, but we also get to help a lot of you guys. Today, I get an email that said, God, I wish I knew this a long time ago. It's changed my life. So each and every one of you, when you're a part of Quest, when you come to these events, when you borrow someone's money, when you use your own IRA, you're also doing something, I think, bigger than all of that. You're helping us build a company the way companies should be built, with their employees in mind first. And I wanted to take a minute to thank you for that. If you want to be exposed to more of that, come to our expo. Quest is not in the expo business. We really are a service company. That's what we do. We manage self-directed IRAs. So when we put on an expo, we take everything that we can and we put it into the expo. If we sell more tickets, we spend more money on more stuff. If we got more vendors, we sell more stuff, right? And the speakers that come, you're going to see Eddie Speed up there. He's amazing. You're going to see other amazing speakers. Is only half of the value. The real value happens in the hallways, because the quality of people that come here, the expo, to me, and I'm not just saying that for me, like I'm honestly telling you the truth. It is the best event that's held out there. Besides Note School Expo. I mean, I'm with the exception of that, Eddie. Thanks. With no further ado, guys, take a chance, look at the expo, look at some of the Quest stuff we have, and I want to just take a minute to thank you. Can I have my dynamic couples up here? Eddie and Martha. Vanessa, Michael. And Derek, who lost his wife. You have to sit in the center, Derek. Okay, what are we doing about mics here with one working mic?
Hello.
See if that worked. Something scratchy.
Here, I got it.
Yeah. Oh, wait. There's more because we go to a speed bonus round. Can everybody hear me? So I do invest with my wife, as you know. I can tell you there's difficulties in it. And so, though it can also be very profitable, it can be very rewarding, and it can be very challenging. Right? And if anyone's spent some time working directly with their spouse, they know that. So I think this is a great topic, right? It's not the motors of how we do invest and what we do and how we build a great note deal and how we have all these other things. But it's about some of the things that matter to us as people, right? It's like how we actually survive. So I'm going to start out and I'm going to just ask some questions of you guys. You guys ready? I am aiming for you, Martha. I am aiming for you to embarrass Eddie before this is done. I'm sorry, I might pick on them a little extra. We've been friends for a long time, so I might know, a few things there. But again, think about it for a second. But how do you balance your personal and professional relationship as investors? Anyone want to start?
Well, can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you. Vanessa.
So we got the questions before coming and driving over here. We went through them and we kind of joked and said, "What's balance?" We need a dictionary because we don't do a very good job of the balance. Just quickly, Mike and I met through work back in almost 20 years ago, and we've worked together ever since. But to answer your question, it is definitely a balance. There is a lot of work, but there's also a lot of fun.
Tell me a little bit about you guys and what you do.
Okay, so we have Olive Cove Partners, and we do two primary things. One is private money loans for investors, and then we also buy notes on the secondary market, which is how we know Eddie and Martha really well. And my background is finance. I was on Wall Street for a long period of time.
We're sorry.
And then I came over to the corporate side and I was CFO of two energy companies in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then COVID happened and that all stopped. We have two young girls and I'll let Mike tell his story, but something had to give in our household. And I decided to leave my corporate W-2 job and start doing investments. And that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years.
And I'm Mike, and I'm an attorney by training. I do corporate and tax.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
We can-
Vanessa, I married an attorney too. I know what that's like. Yeah, I got it.
She hadn't paid her bill yet.
I haven't won an argument yet. I don't know. Yeah.
So, and I've been in the investment management space for probably 20 years or so.
How are you here on a couple things without your wife?
It's super awkward being up here. Well, so we have 4 children. Our oldest is 7. We have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and an 8-month-old. And we're going to you have an event in Houston on Thursday, and Brittany's gonna be there, and she's like, I can't leave the babies that long. So she just couldn't do it. So she sent me here by myself. But yeah, we were in the same freshman dorm in college. So we've been together for a long time. I think it would have been 2006. So I don't know, almost 20 years. I have a very similar answer. There is no balance per se. We just do all the things that needs to be done all the time. It's like we only work and grind. And our family work is just it is just the priority. So we have to, just like we have meetings and set aside time, and we believe in respecting. We respect our commitments, even our commitments to ourselves, to meet and talk about the things that are important in our family. So we have a Wednesday mornings, we have family priorities. We go through our priorities. Just like on Monday mornings, we have business priorities. We go through our priorities. And so we just take the time, we put it on the calendar. We don't pretend like it's less important than the business stuff. It's on the calendar. And just like and sometimes we do the personal stuff in the workday, just like we do a lot of work stuff at, we have our second shift after we get the kids to sleep at 8:30 and then go from 8:30 to
Well,
wee hours, so that's just.
I got a different answer than that. How do you guys deal with it? Come on, Martha.
Well, I would say that it's a blur because, we've been married a very long time. And so it's just a way of life for us, it seems like, right?
Right.
Like it just is part of who we are. And it just like, it's one day at a time. But at the same time, it's like, it's been 40 plus years, right?
Okay, I've known you guys a
So-
while. There's been times where the managing the work because overseeing some of the relationship parts of it.
Yeah, that can be difficult, but it is a situation where, we have just honestly, I mean, when we started, it was just Eddie and I, right? For a very long time. It was just 3 years. It was just the two of us. Then we brought on a partner. Then we eventually hired somebody to help us. So when we started out, we worked together it was just
Close.
yeah. And so it's different now because, now I'm just like, yes, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do those things. Right.
I'm so opposite. I do not let talk about work unless it's business hours and we have an appointment. I swear, and if you talk about work while I'm cooking, that's the problem. I'm cooking now. I'm not working. Eddie, what do you think?
Well, the problem is there's this old saying, if you find something you love, you'll never work another day in your life, right? And anybody in this room, and I know several of you very well, I really do love this business. I'm not faking it. I really do love it. And so probably the only problem with that is Martha's like, so we've done lots of events, lots of things. When I'm at a trade show, she'll let me sit at the bar at 11 o'clock and talk about notes till 10:59. But most nights we don't talk about notes. And so, it's kind of been that. And we just have very defined roles. Martha runs really our investing strategy of self-directed retirement accounts. And I run note school and a fairly significant note trading business. We're at the office every day, but we're not doing the same thing. We have lunch. And today, did you ask me about a note today? I think you did. We just usually don't talk about notes during lunch.
I think if you're going to be a couple, you got to stay sometimes out of the other person. I certainly can't go to Christina and tell her how to be a lawyer. You got it? And she's also not good at running a big business. And we both realize that, right? Yeah. We both realize our strengths. What are some of the benefits? What are some of the challenges of being partners?
Let me start.
You start, Eddie. You do it. You open this up, man.
Well, Martha and I also discussed the questions, Vanessa. And the deal is we were laughing, like Charles, we were laughing about before we left the office, and Charles was still there. And we said, and Charles' office is between Martha and I, like literally. And he's very seasoned. And we said, we don't really argue about deals. We've been doing this a long time. We very seldom disagree on a deal. So that's not really our argument. Now, Martha's very technical at some things that I suck at being technical at. And so there's times when Martha just has to go get in the grind and go figure out what the balance sheet said, which it was not done right, or like there's stuff like that that might cause some contention. But we really don't. Martha and I know what a good deal looks like. We know how a financial model works in this business. We just don't really fight about that. I mean, did we ever? I don't know. I don't remember us.
No, I don't think so. It's just a situation where we have, we're so different. We're very different personalities. And so I think it's easier for us because we're so different to mesh what I do well and then he does what he does well. And so I think that balances it all out.
What's the question again? Sorry. Oh, benefits. One of the benefits is alignment. I mean, I've had other partners, and we are aligned on business and life. We got in this together with the same vision. By this, I mean marriage, but also a business. And so it's like alignment. And what really is super helpful is just like we work a lot of hours. And it's way easier to work a lot of hours if you can just like talk to your partner at like 11 o'clock because y'all are chilling in the bedroom. Maybe a lot of people that's not cool like to talk about work after hours, but we just really like it. We love what we do similarly. And very similarly, the things that she's good at, I'm just not good at. So it's not even a question when there's an issue that comes across, and everybody in our whole team knows. They're like Brittany issues and they're Derek issues, and they don't really overlap. Sometimes I might opine on a Brittany issue, but if we then disagree and then do what she says. And it's the same thing on things that are Derek issues. We can disagree and she's like, okay, whatever. And then it's just like, and then we just move on. And that's just that. It's actually harder in personal life, honestly, because like, if the kids, there's some things that's like, well, I don't want her to quit soccer and you want her to quit soccer. And like, that's really harder there,
I would say one of the benefits is just communication. So I do a lot of every deal we look at goes through what I call investment committee, which is Mike and I sitting down and talking about it. I don't have full reign. He doesn't have full reign. So we both go in it with knowing exactly what we're getting into. But it makes us talk about it. And he pushes me in a different way than I push myself. And I push him in a different way than he pushes himself. So what we find is by the benefit of working together is that we ask each other questions that other people wouldn't ask of their partners because we're not afraid to offend each other. Like we're not afraid for people to think that we're pushing too much or that we're not asking the right question. And so for us, it's really communication, making ourselves better, and making sure because of that, the investments are overall better. Some of the challenges is just that in itself, right? Because we do push each other, right? And we do push to make sure that we are making the best possible investments that we can. And so sometimes that's challenging and sometimes a little tiring, to be honest.
I think y'all covered it well.
That's what he always does. He's like, yep. So my personality is I'm the chatter, and he's like, yep, okay.
Feel happy. My wife, the attorney's never like that.
Oh my gosh. He's like, yep.
She's always got something to say.
He will say, when he says the one thing, just listen, because that means it's really meaningful.
Yeah. How do you decide on your investment goals and strategies?
I'll take this. So, shocker, right? You'll see a little bit of our personalities come out in this. So when we first met each other over 20 years ago, he had a balance sheet, he had a budget, he had everything laid out. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. This is going to be terrible. I was like, you can do whatever you want to, but don't make me do what you're doing because I don't like it. And it was just so rigid. And but still to the day, he's still the same person. He knows every single penny, exactly where it went. It's tagged in, in QuickBooks, all kinds of stuff. Yet I'm the finance person. He's excuse my language. He's anal in other ways. But what I would say is we both have left our W-2 jobs, and to do so, we did have to have a budget. We did have to have a model. We did have to be on the same page about what we are doing with our underlying assets. And so for us, it was laying it out, both of us seeing it, both of us talking about it, and both of us coming together on what some of the major things that are important for us are and for our family, and making sure we incorporate them. And so everything we do is striving towards those goals.
Yeah, and for us, I make those decisions mostly. We have a like I get us into things and she gets us through things. Like that's our relationship.
Oh Lord.
So a lot of time, but like but she keeps me from making crazy mistakes because we've gotten through enough things. So that's another good thing is like, we just really trust each other. She trusts, like I trust her to like look at the things I'm gonna miss because she's just she's worked us through out of a lot of, we've been in a lot of stuff. She worked us out through a lot of stuff, and she just trusts me to make the best decision because honestly, we've had wins. Like I've had wins where she disagreed. I've had losses, and you win some, you lose some. But when you're on the same page about this is the strategy and we're going, I don't know.
With my wife, I'm being the attorney. She likes to look at all the details, those little things that I don't pay that much attention to, and she digs in and sometimes uncovers some things that might be problematic, but she'll never tell me not to do the deal. She'll just remind me that when it goes bad, she will be there to tell me, I told you so.
Exactly. Same here.
Our goals and strategies have been the same since we first got married. A lot of those we learned from my dad, which one of them is that we wanted our net worth every year to increase more than our income, because our income we can control, we can live off a certain amount of money every year, but you've got to realize that your net worth has got to be increasing more. You've got to keep building your net worth, right? So that was important to us. The other thing, because we're in the real estate note business, is we buy full. So we buy the whole note and we sell short. And so we buy the note and then I sell what we would call a partial interest to a very passive investor that doesn't want to do the work, right? They don't want to be in the business, but they want to make an investment. And so it has worked perfectly since, before we were even married. We just knew that, that's the direction we wanted to take. That's why we're in the business. And so it's worked out well. And, when you look at investing with your IRAs, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to grow your net worth. That money is sitting there. So you're growing that money to increase your net worth. But then you're living on maybe you're a W-2 employee, whatever it is. You've got something, you kind of have to set those boundaries there, right? So that you can keep growing that investment money and keep earning more.
Well, you got the mic. I'll get back to you in a second. There's something that you guys have done that is amazing. And I think I've been able to do it. I often talk about this, but you were able to take your education and your wealth building and make it generational. They involve other members of their family, including their children, are involved. What did it take to do that?
Well, I think that's it's a little bit different in that regard. So, since my dad taught us, is that yours?
I'm trying to figure it out.
I think it must be yours. I don't. Because my dad was in the business and taught us the business. He built his own personal portfolio. So, my dad died in his 50s, and at that point in time, my mother had a portfolio of over 500 performing loans. And so we've been able to keep my mom taken care of with those loans, adding to the portfolio. He had other investments as well, not just notes. And so we've been able to take care of her with that. But not only that, but it's my mother is in her late 80s. She has transferred a lot of those assets to my sister and I. And then as we grow our portfolio and different accounts, like for example, let's say that we don't ever need the money from our Roth IRA, that Eddie and I may not need it. And let's say that we never had to take required minimum distributions. Well, we can leave that to our children. And then our children can do the same thing. They can grow a portfolio and leave inheritance if they wanted to their kids. But the most important thing is it's not just inheriting the assets or the money, because you've got to know what to go do with them. You've got to know how to manage them. You've got to teach each generation how to keep the legacy going, right? It's about teaching them to fish, right? It's not about just giving them something.
If you give your kids a bunch of money, you've done them a disservice. If you teach them about money, then you've shown them love.
Mhm. Exactly. So, we've got, another generation now that's active in real estates and notes, because we haven't just done the note business. I mean, we've done a lot of real estate, we've done a lot of land transactions. So there's a lot of different things we've been involved in.
Well, we happen to have an educational business. And part of the story of the educational business is what Martha has done. If somebody comes to note school, there's eventually they'll figure out, hear a story where my mother and dad died in their 80s. My mother died at 89. I got my dad in the business at 68 years old, and he didn't have his retirement squared away. And within 5 or 6 years after he'd been in the note business, he couldn't spend the money. And so he died at 85. My mother was in full-time care, and we paid for that through notes. And then she died, and so we inherited some cash. And my sister, there's 6 siblings in my family, all alive. So my sister sends us whatever it was, $6,500, and we said we're going to take $6,500 and divide it by our 3 kids, and they'll be by the time the youngest is 30 years old, he's 26. They'll all be a millionaire in a self-directed retirement account with a $2,000 investment. That's the truth. So we became really good at financial modeling. We've done this transaction that we teach over 20,000 times. So we've done it, and we really became good at that. And our kids saw that. And by the time our kids were in high school, they were going like, "Mom, I need to look at this deal with you." And I'm not making that up. I mean, and so now I look at Note School, and I look at the audience, and I look at how many people have now brought their kids to Note School because they want them to learn. And so I didn't invent any of it. We just happened to learn. So our kids actually learned the note business from sitting in class, just like their parents did. And they were a little ADD or whatever, but they got enough of it that they caught the idea. So that's how they got started thinking about it.
So I want to say two. Am I doing this right?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to say 2 things. One is talking about the kids and the generation, I think is so important. So I want to touch on that, but I also want to touch on being investors as partners, right? Husband and wife. As a wife, if you are not involved, you need to be involved. It's critical that you are involved. And you heard Eddie and Martha talk about, their parents and the position that they're in. But so many times, one of the spouses, mainly the women, I'm being a little stereotypical, don't know what to do when their spouse dies. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to go find the account where all these assets may be. And so it is critical that you, as the spouse, women mostly here, please get involved. It is so critical, not only for yourself, but for your family. And so I want to say that it's super important.
Isn't it equally as important to involve your children?
Yes, and that was going to be my second point.
I see it all the time doing what I do. We deal with people who died and well slept over. We see that, right, all the time. And sometimes the spouse is involved, but where you really got to involve is your children. They should understand you're investing. And if they do, they will respect it better on your demise.
100%. So that was going to be my second point, which is our kids are now 12 and 9, and our youngest actually deposits checks. And they have been making investments with us for now over a year. And so at their school, and they talk about, what do you want to be when you grow up? They say they want to be an investor. And for as parents, that's
Not an archaeologist. I always wanted to be an archaeologist.
not a veterinarian, not a school teacher. You know, they see us working together, and that's what they want to do, and that's super meaningful for us. But to your point, it's teaching them now that it matters.
Some of you guys know my son, Derek. He's a pretty good investor himself. Handsome young man. He looks a lot like his dad. You know, he now works over there with Eckerd. But if you guys would have seen this kid at 18, I'm telling you, Eddie, I'm talking like long hair, holes in his jeans, and I was like, "Hey, son, I'm gonna give you $5,000." He's like, "Dude," and I'm like, "But I'm gonna put it on a Roth IRA, and I'm gonna help you invest it, and it's for you when you get old." And he's like, "Dude," you know, it didn't sink in, Eddie. It took years beyond that point. In other words, it took him years. He was 25, where all of a sudden he realized, oh, geez, work is really hard. And all of a sudden, this little bit of money that Dad put in an account has been growing, and he's been talking about it. So for Derek was stubborn. He wasn't as bright as some others. I don't know. I'm sorry, Eckerd. You guys got him now. You know. Anyway, but it's the truth. But I think that's important to have family involved in there. You want to go to the next question? We got one more question. I'm going to go to the thing. It's like, oh, yeah. How do you handle disagreements or conflict that arises from your investment decisions?
Take it away, Michael.
We'll record this and send it to your wife.
I think this is pretty low. Honestly, I don't know if we've ever had any disagreements about our investment decisions. I'm serious. We've made money, we've lost money, but I think we worked really hard to get to a point where like our expenses are just much lower than our income. So like we're building something, and our focus is on building something. I'm building a business, I'm building a life for our family. And we're making and we know I trust very much that she's aligned in her decisions. She's gonna win and lose. She's gonna have mistakes. And it's the same thing. I've lost us money. I've lost us, especially at the time. Like, yeah, but like, yeah, we've never at this point. It's like we trust that at least. Also, we had many years of therapy that might have helped too. But our disagreements are not about investment decisions.
Wait till that 7-year-old gets to be about 12 to 14.
Well, so our yeah, there you go.
Hopefully, she'll never drive a car, and they're all self-driving by then.
Keep dreaming, Derek.
Yeah.
So our rule is it takes 2 yeses to say yes to the deal. So if there isn't buy-in from both sides, then we're not going to do the deal. To the point of, holding it over somebody's head because you made a bad decision or forced it through. So that's, I think, a starting point. You have to have consensus in order to do a deal, or else you end up in a situation where, like it or not, it's human nature. People will start blaming each other. And I never wanted to do this deal.
You guys ever stand up with Christina? She does that with every deal. She just like rubber stamps them. So that if I have a problem with one, she's got it covered.
Did not approve.
Yeah.
There you go. She's got her own strategy going on.
She was in litigation for a lot of years. I don't know. Real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh Lord. So before I turn it over to you, I remember a call from you one time, Eddie. You're like, Nathan, kids' IRAs and their ESAs and all that's making more money than anybody could ever possibly dream. If we don't simplify this, Martha's going to leave me.
So Martha had the great fortune to be taught by Quincy and Nathan in the early days. And so Martha all learned all about our attorney is Jeff Watson, who's on the board with Quest. I mean, Martha knows some very sophisticated models of IRA investing through trust and so forth. The problem is, counselor, that takes some management sometimes, right? And so, you know, I don't know.
Bring that up.
We've been investing together for 40 something years. So surely we've had a fuss, or surely we've had a whatever. I really don't see Martha's investments. Martha runs our legacy, wealth building, retirement building stuff. I mean, occasionally she'll show me a deal, but I bet you I've seen less than 10% of any of the deals Martha's ever bought. I run a fairly significant note trading operation, and I run Note School. And Martha probably hasn't seen the notes that we've bought. We just run two different, we're in the same office. We're 20 feet from each other. We just don't do the same thing. And it's very different than how they do it. I totally get that. But I think that's why we don't end up in a.
But I mean, can your investments with your family, you can make them too complicated.
Oh, we've tried.
Yeah.
We worked at it really hard.
Yeah.
You really do?
Okay.
Well, I would just say that, I don't know, we just ended up with too many accounts, I guess. And so then we had to figure out, well, how can we make this simpler, merge some things together, and still accomplish the goal, what we wanted to do. And so that was part of it. But yeah, I can only remember one time when I actually threw a file at Eddie. Yeah, I was like,
Eddie
I don't know
remember
I don't even
more
know
than
what the
once.
argument was at the time. I was quite young, but anyway, so he's a much more aggressive investor, and I'm the much more conservative investor because, I'm overseeing it for our retirement. So I want things that I know for sure are going to perform, with little, as few issues as possible, right? That's kind of what I want.
think there's another important lesson I want to stop and pause and talk about. It's scalability. As you grow your business, what worked when you were small isn't the same thing that works as you grow. And so you have to learn, and something that we learn all the time at Quest. Over there, that's B. She actually runs Quest. She's our executive vice president. Every employee reports to her with the exception of me and Quincy. So, and she could tell you that adjusting to scale is something that she's constantly redefining and is actually very good at doing. But she's always got the next scale set for when it gets to this next level, we'll scale it this way. Thank you. You got something to say?
I don't think so.
Okay, we're going to the speed round. Everybody get their little badges. This is the speed round. All right. Rapid fire. Right. I'm going to ask a question and raise your tag if this is appropriate to you. Now, Derek, since you have to raise right hand, left hand for the wife, I don't know how this is going to work. Who is most likely to find the craziest investment? Any comments there? Come on, Mike.
I like complicated, hairy things. And so when people bring me an idea that we should probably pass on as a go, I love to get involved in them. And, she ultimately likes it too, but, it takes a little convincing at the very beginning.
Hey, I have the same problem because I'm a very conservative investor personally, but my brother likes to do the craziest things. He'll be like, "Oh my God, Nathan, I made like 7,000%." I'll be like, "Yeah, Quincy, but you invested $79." And he's like, come on, you know Quincy, am I lying, Eddie? Like, but he's like, but look what I learned. You know, like it was to him, it was about what he learned and everything else. Any comments?
Just going on how we might disagree. So when he brings those hairy deals, and I'm like, no, I'm not interested. He'll keep on bringing it back and over and over.
It's like leftovers. They just keep coming out of the fridge.
And I'm like, I already told you I don't like the deal, and this is why. And over and over, and then he brings it up.
He wears you down?
No, I'm pretty steadfast. But that's, I mean, just a little bit of like the differences. If he really likes a deal that is hairy, he'll bring it over and over and over. So that's where like just the conviction of knowing what we're comfortable with comes, and also two people agree.
2 votes.
Yep.
I'm the exact same way. Like I'll bring something that's like over, but I'm like, but the risk adjusted returns, and she's like, I'm gonna have to deal with this. All right, like this is gonna be a servicing issue. We're gonna have to go to West Virginia. Like I'm gonna have to do all this. You're not. So like no. And then the fourth time I'm like, but look at this detail. Like if you want to do the deal, fine. But like when we have to deal with X, Y, and Z, you're gonna have to deal with it. And I don't know. It's kind of how it. And usually, when it gets to that point,
Yeah, if you override the veto when it becomes a problem,
right?
it's your problem.
I don't like exactly by that. Usually, when that point, I'm like, okay, well, we probably shouldn't do this deal. We'll pass. I've learned that the hard way.
I teach creative financing for a living. What do you expect? Right? I mean, it's what we do. And so you can get too creative, right? Not that it's a bad deal, but it's hard to manage and it's hard to, and so we learn, and you
Ultra special.
You get some scars on you, and you don't do quite so fast. So believe me, we like trust investing, but you can get trust investing and entity investing way out of hand. And so we've learned some things about how to simplify it, but I've caused her some stress I wish I wouldn't have. And I'm like, sweetie, it's not going to be that hard.
Was it that hard?
Yeah, it usually is. When he says it's not going to be that hard, I know I'm in trouble. Yes, and I'm the one that I really need to know how things are going to go and all the little details about how it works and all of that.
Yeah, I'm not the detail guy either, Eddie.
So I have to study just about what's going on, and know everything before I can actually do the deal. So it's time.
B, am I the detail guy? Okay, this is going to be painful. I'm getting into the painful questions here. Who is most likely to forget an anniversary or birthday? Oh, Vanessa!
Your flag really high. As a matter of fact, so we were. This is no joke. This is honest to truth. So we're over here, right, just standing around, waiting to get everything started. And he said, "Did you send that picture in?" And I'm like, "Yeah." You saw it. Yeah. Well, where? I don't think I remember. Like, where was that picture from? And I was like, "You don't remember? It was like about 2 years ago on our like 41st anniversary." And he didn't remember.
Womp womp. Vanessa, you want to bet?
Well, I convinced Mike that one year that our anniversary was 5 days before our actual anniversary because I had forgotten. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's mid-November. It's time. And I didn't remember the day. And I was like, babe, it's our anniversary today. It's our anniversary today. And he's like,
think about how I thought about it, right? So it's disquieting to me because I'm fairly certain she's right, but I gotta go check. So I can't go with this, right? The 14th, but maybe it's the 9th. What do you say at the moment, right?
in front of our kids, he's like, oh yeah, okay, maybe we'll go to dinner. I'm like, yeah, great, okay, I guess I'll find a babysitter. But
So I want to check.
and I was wrong. So yes, I am the one to forget for sure.
Derek, you?
No, I remember. I don't know. Brittany will.
The other half is not here.
She's not here. She's not here. But this is one that might be disputed. But I think I remember anniversaries, and I remember anniversaries and birthdays. I might not remember our kids' birthdays, because it's.
I can't remember my kids' names.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I might have gotten last minute. I might have done something last minute. So like, plans and accommodations. And she's like, Derek, we're not doing that. Honestly, I planned this out already, but I typically remember.
Martha, you might be surprised to know that I have forgotten exactly 1/2 of our anniversaries. Exactly 1/2. And there's only one saving grace here. For everyone that I've forgotten, my wife forgot them too. So we're definitely meant to be a couple.
Lucky you.
It's a true story. All right, here we go. Which one of you is most likely to negotiate the good deal? Yeah, Eddie. Yeah, she's like, yeah, it was Brittany, huh? Who's the negotiator with you guys?
Both. Like we both negotiate. So I think so my style is a little bit more direct, as you're probably not surprised, and Mike's style is a little bit rounder, not so direct. And as a result, like we end up negotiating. Negotiations need different tactics at different times, and so that's where our backgrounds and our combination really help us negotiate what makes out to be the best deal for everybody.
Like, typically I'm like bought in, so I'm like, this is probably good at any price, and Brittany's like, no, like she's like a really hype person, like off the phone, like she'd be like, no, we got like this is how we need to negotiate and all that stuff, but then but I have to make the call and like actually do it. She wants me to execute. So but a lot of things that we negotiate in that she's like pushes us, and then I have to have the tough conversation with the seller or like the whatever. Looking back, some of that stuff has been the key. So I'm always happy that she pushes, but she doesn't have the conversations. I have all. The truth is, I have all the tough conversations, and she's hype on the sideline, like saying, "No, we have to do this."
Oh, Eddie's the master negotiator. Yes, he is.
He'll wear you down if nothing else.
Oh, he'll just wear you out. Is that what he does? Is that what you're saying? I would not consider myself a negotiator. So when I need to negotiate, I go. I'm usually seeking advice.
Everybody's got their thing, right? And so I've been a loan trader, a deal maker in some way. That's been my career. So, it's kind of been our thing. And Martha's got so many skills that I just really suck at. And so most of the deals that, we've done, I've been the frontline guy that kind of, somehow did them or created the environment where we did them. Like somebody was working for us that did them or some point. So it's what I like.
Has this been good? I know it's not the normal type of thing, but I think it's important to think about some of the things that we do with our family as we learn to start to invest together. Because building wealth isn't really about making money. It's about building the ability to control your circumstances. And that becomes through generational wealth. And so before we finish, is there anything anyone wants to ask? These are some really qualified people we've brought up front. Do you guys have any questions in the audience? I'll bring you the mic real quick for these couples and Derek, who left his wife.
Thank you so much. My name is Daniel, and I wanted to get a glimpse from each of you. It seems like a lot of what you do is in the sales world. How many no's do you get for each yes? So each deal that you do close, like how many did you actually have to go through to get to that point?
So we typically like last year we did about 4.7% of the. So people typically apply. So people typically come to us, and we did 4.7% of the deals that came through. So I don't know.
I guess I would say it's
Pass the mic. Pass the mic. One mic for everybody.
at least for us, it's a bit of a funnel. We see a lot of deals. So say you say 100 deals, and out of the 100 deals, you pass to further diligence, or further diligence maybe 40 deals. Then deep diligence maybe 5 or 10 deals, of which you do 2 or 3.
And just to put it in perspective, over the last, call it 3 years, we've done, I would say, almost 80 deals.
We did 57 deals last year.
I mean, we trade portfolios. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, I know
It's
it's
just
not really a
different.
fair question or whatever. Anyone else? Anyone want to ask a question? Here we go.
Okay, he mentioned scalability. Scalability. Can you give an example of that?
How do you change things as you got more business?
I would say, tell them.
Which is interesting because that's going to lead to something I want to talk about next. So before you answer the question, you two, I'll let you guys go to there, but I think the question is directed at you. You've solved one of the big problems in the note business, which is having notes at this point. You have an unlimited source at this point. Am I wrong? But anyway, talk about scalability a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's every market has timing, right? The commercial real estate is not in a good spot. Rental property, people show up at note school every day because they can't make cash flow on a rental property work. You can double your cash flow in many cases, owner financing it versus renting it. People say, well, you don't get the appreciation. Actually, you do. You get it up front. So there is a firm that trades loan portfolios in the institutional world. They trade between 50 million and 400 million a month. And so I've found a niche where we train a lot of people with investable capital. They're students. We've developed a lot of services and we do things for them. So we found out that we buy kind of the opposite of what a hedge fund wants to buy, particularly low balance loans. So, the hedge fund really doesn't want to touch a loan balance under 150,000. And so there's reperforming notes, there's non-performing notes, there's all these things. It doesn't mean that they're on crappy properties. And so, I've just been in the space a long time, have a good reputation. And so we find ourselves with a seat at the table. And that's the key to the business. Our note inventory probably in the next 24 months has the best potential that I've seen. It's my 44th year in the business. I think it's that good. So it's just market timing and circumstances. And so I'm looking at everything along the way. So look, I've run a fund. I've done all kind of stuff. I'm going deep because I am staying focused on my niche and I'm going deep. I have, partners that have different, do things with us, but scalability is really the key to it. If you're trying to be everything and do everything, then you're going to wake up and figure out you won't scale. So what I've kind of learned, I'm a ADD deal chaser. Oops, there's a squirrel. I've done all that stuff. I've championed all those things, right? But to really go take anything to any level, it's you'll ask anybody that runs a business. It's about focus. And so scale is focus.
One last thing. Why you got the mic? Why you got there? You gave everyone little pieces of paper.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Into the mic. And what's that do?
So this is a 2-hour master class. It's in a couple of weeks. It's on a Wednesday. It's from 11 to 1. If you can't make it, go on and register and I'll get somebody to move you. But it's about 2 hours. And we really just in about 2 hours, I think we cover a lot of stuff about when people say discounted notes, like what is that? And the best way you do it is you basically show people what a deal looks like. It's this asset. We talk about Martha doing the partials. What does that look like? We show an example of what a partial looks like. So the best thing I've learned to even start anybody of do they have an interest in it? You got to show them what a real deal looks like. It's not mechanical. We're not going to pull out a buy-sell agreement and go into all. But it's 2 solid hours of literally about 50% of is answering questions. So we're really good with the audience of bringing in their questions and saying, what do you want to know? And we have familiar questions that we'll go on kind of, say this is a common question and stuff. So it's a pretty good job of people kind of defining like, what would this look like for me? So, it's a gift, that we're doing here tonight. As I tell you that, guys, when you register for it, I tell you 2 things. If you don't show up, it ain't going to do any good. And if you don't focus during 2 hours, it ain't going to do any good. We're going to go fast enough. You're not going to get it and multitask and answer 20 texts and emails. It's just too much. So if you'll pass them to the end, we'll come by there and grab them when we're done or something. But if it's a fit for you, it's pretty cool, I think. It's virtual. Mm-hmm.
Closing comments?
I would just say that I'm extremely blessed. Is it not? That I'm extremely blessed and lucky to be able to go to work every day and work with him. He makes me better, not just professionally, but personally. And he actually cooks breakfast for the kids.
She set herself up for a good breakfast.
I truly, working with my spouse, my parents work together. I get to work with Mike. It's extremely rewarding. And trust me, there are times I want to kill him, but I don't want to leave him. And that to me is the true definition of success. To enjoy what I do, love who I'm doing it with, and have a lot of fun along the way.
That's great. Derek, any last comments before Steve takes over?
Well, I think
Just maybe think of something, because y'all addressed it, your office and all that. Do y'all work out of home or do you have an office?
Great question. Mary's husband. We actually have an office. It's about 3 minutes away from the house. And what we found is that it's really good separation for us to be able to go into the office and leave it. It helps leaving it in the office. And, when COVID happened, it was great. You can roll out of bed and roll back in bed. But what we found is that it overtakes your life. And so especially working together every day, then spending time at home together every day, laying in the same bed, it was too much. And I love him, but let's leave it at work.
And yeah, we had an office. We had a new baby last year. And so number 4, our first boy though, so 4th time's a charm. Yeah. And we are buying an office now. So we went home, and home was great for the babies, but now we're buying an office and building like a whole children's area so that it's someplace else so that they can after school come and play and we can keep working. So
we have one more question here for you and Martha and Eddie here.
I think you mentioned that you can invest $1,000 and make $100,000. Is that what you said? And what time period is that? Like 100 years?
They need the microphone back. Hang on. What time period? Does it take 100 years, Eddie?
So this would be where you buy a note. It could be $100,000 note plus interest, and say it's a 20-year note. So you buy a 20-year note, and the strategy is you buy the note, and then you can buy and resell or flip it, and there's all kind of conversations about different ways that could be done. But Martha will buy a 20-year note and immediately sell 10 years, right? And it pays for the whole note minus $1,000 investment. And then she gets 10 years worth of payments starting on year 10. She gets 10 years worth of monthly payments because she sold the front of the note that basically the front part of the note is worth way more than the back part of the note. And Martha will buy it at a higher return and sell it to a passive investor at a lower return, which has them write a bigger check. And so that's how the math.
All right. Well, big round of applause for these guys. Mike and Vanessa, Derek, and of course our friends Eddie and Wendy. That was pretty good.